Hey, good morning. I'm Justin, K3EE, and this is Blackbeard's Radio. I appreciate y'all tuning in today. Today we're going to be going over a little bit more on the Yaesu ATOS mobile installations and how to get 80 meters on your mobile installation. So stick with me. Again, I'm Justin, K3EE with Blackbeard's Radio. All right, guys. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for watching the channel. I truly appreciate it. More than you'll ever know. I'm just an average guy trying to put content out that people will watch and try and help people learn from some of the mistakes I make and video in the process. I'm not perfect. I don't know the right names for stuff. I don't know sometimes the right way to do things. I joke and say that I wing it and fling it all the time. And a lot of times that's true. I just kind of go with it and hope. And sometimes it bites me in the butt and sometimes it doesn't. But either way, I bring y'all along for the ride. So hopefully somebody can learn from me doing it either right or wrong. But the one thing I do ask you to do is to subscribe. Right now, 89% of my viewership is not subscribed. So I would love it if you would hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost a penny, but it would certainly help me out. But that's all. Let's get into the actual video. So Yaesu's ATOS. How do we make it tune 80 meters? Right? That's my question. All right, hold on. Let's flip around and I'll get with you. All right, so my ATOS is still mounted on my mirror mount that I took the back half off of and mounted flat to my toolbox. Nothing has changed there. If you've been following along on my video, I put a bulkhead connector in line with two of those very large bulkhead nuts, top one bottom, and I put the star-shaped crush washers. And watch this. 2 fingers, nothing. That bad boy is solid. I am super happy. So that's working like a champ. I'll try to link to that video in the upper corner of, but I don't know how to do that yet. So if I don't, find it in the description. So to get 80 meters, there's a couple ways we can do it. One, through the cap. It's through this cap. You take the cap off and you can see how the actual metal part of the antenna, the whip itself, is pushed through that and then extends the, whatever it is, 90 centimeters or something. But inside of here is a little porthole that's keyed just like a hamstick, and you can drill that hole out and you can get a 170 millimeter whip to go on top of it. So like, I don't know, that's getting close to 2 yards, like 5.5 feet or some crap. And that'll give you 80 meters. My problem with it is, that is laying horizontal in my toolbox, and look at the flex of that antenna. With how I have it mounted, right now it's tuned on 6 meters. You can tell, it's about a finger width of space down there. And look at the flexibility of that whip. I stopped it from bouncing. But look at how flexible that whip is. I mean, that's sagging 6 inches just horizontally. So wind load is a big concern of mine. And that's why I don't want to drill it out yet. If I ever end up stumbling across the second one and I can have one dedicated for my vehicle and then one dedicated for portable applications instead of mobile applications, then that might be a viable option. But until then, that bad boy is staying just the way it is, I think. I say that now in the beginning of June. So I'll show you what I found to combat this. I found that adapter That is a Comet AD35M. That's Alpha Delta 35 mic. And it is a UHF VHF connector to a hamstick connector, which is 3/8 by 24. So this bad boy will screw on to here and then lock down, and now I can put a hamstick on top of it. Just so happens in Dayton, I got a 75-meter hamstick. Well, it's a HF power rod, but still, it's a hamstick-ish. So we're gonna set it up. I've already done that part of it, put that connector on top of it. I'm gonna move that ATOS, and then we're gonna watch how tuning it on a VNA goes. So hang on. All right, so here's what's included in that package. You have your loaded fiberglass portion, and you can see it barely has any windings on it. And down here we have a few windings. One end of it goes into that collar that I showed you. This is the collar for the whip, and the whip does have two distinct ends. You can see that one is smooth, and on the other end we have a pressed on fitting that lets you know that it's the top. So if you read the instructions on this name brand 75-meter whip, it tells you to lock the collar on 4 inches up from the bottom. So that'll be about there. I'm not sure if it's talking about 4 inches to the bottom of the collar or 4 inches to the top of the collar, but we'll start at the top of the collar. And to do that, we have to loosen those 2 set screws that you see here. We'll insert this through here. And now we'll tighten that down. I need 2 hands for this. All right, so here is one of those tips that I have learned, actually a couple tips that I've learned dealing with my hamsticks before. One, on top of this collar, because that'll be visible once you screw it in, make a little line with a Sharpie or something similar. I'm using a Milwaukee Ultrafine Black, but that way you can check your progress as you raise or lower the whip itself. And then the second one, these set screws right there, they strip out ridiculously easy. I don't know why. Okay, well, I mean, we do know why. Daggone made in China, probably. But with them stripping out, especially while we're tuning it the initial time, be very gingerly. Just put enough tension on those screws so that they are actually tight enough to hold the collar in place, and that's it. Don't do any more. All right, so now I'm going to put the collar in the fiberglass, and that way we will have a true hamstick with whip attached, and then we're going to put it right there, and then we'll start checking SWR. All right, hold on for 2 seconds. All right, so we're about to begin the not so fun part of tuning a hamstick. But for the time, we're gonna take the whip, we insert the whip and collar into, this is a male, this is a female. Insert it, screw it together to make it tight. And it has, I don't know the wrench size of this, but not sure how much of that last video was done, but the hamstick itself is screwed in now. You can see the collar. You just insert the collar into the other part, and away you go. That is fuzzy. Gosh, I'm sorry. And away you go. Then I put the collar into this adapter. This was the Comet, again, I think it was Alpha Delta 35 mic adapter. I'll put a link to this in the description. Guys, these aren't affiliate links. I don't have those. These are just products that I use. So now it's time to tune it. And here is the not so fun part, because you tune it where your radio is. Well, my radio is in the back seat of my truck. So with my radio being in the back seat of my truck, I have to come to the back seat of my truck. My mess of wires, don't pay attention to that. Nobody can see it. I've already taken my coax off. And here's my Nano VNA. This is another moment I wish I had my tripod today. Let me look for it under a car seat. Hold on. Okay, I've got you held into place with the seat back of my truck, of the front seat. So sorry about that. So now we'll connect the coax to the Nano VNA. We will power on the Nano VNA. I know it's going to come up all crazy, but that's okay. I have a 75 meter profile saved in here. All right, so I got my 75 meter profile that's saved. To do that, you touch the center of the screen and oops, back. Main menu, recall. Hit recall and it'll bring up all your saved profiles. So you can see right now, my cursor is in the middle of that dip, and that dip is sitting at 3.804. And the SWR is in the top left corner, and that's giving me a readout of 2.05. So I'm at a 2-to-1 SWR. And that isn't bad, but it could be better, maybe. So now is the pain in the butt part for hamsticks. We have to come back out to the truck. We get our very important marker and our very important Allen key that came with it. We have to take the hamstick out of the mount, and then once we get it out of the mount, we have to loosen the set screws and raise and lower the whip extension, and then go back around the truck and check it over and over and over again. And your body being close, like, it would be really easy for me to stay right here at the edge of my toolbox and just drop it and pull the Nano VNA out of this side of the truck. But my body being this close to the antenna affects the readout. So for me, I have found that it's worth my time to walk around the truck to the other side. So now I'm going to try and get it to somewhere around 1.5 or lower. So it'll be real small increases or decreases in height now. So I'm going to go up about a finger width. I try not to use anything fancy when I'm doing this. I try to have something that is consistent that I can use on the fly, such as my finger or a set marker, something that you have in your truck, because these things are laying everywhere in my toolbox, in my truck. I probably have one stuck. I have one stuck to a tri-mount magnet that I have. So, you know, they're everywhere. So because of that, I try not to worry about, hey, I raised it 3/8 of an inch, or, you know, I raised it 17 millimeter or lowered it 11 millimeter. I try to use something really easy for me. And oftentimes that's something as simple as a finger. All right, stick with me. So I put the Allen key in here. I loosened my 2 set screws, and you can see that black line right there. That's my Sharpie from my last time. So I lengthened this about the width of the Sharpie. And now we're gonna put it back in. I'm trying to do this one-handed, and that is gonna prove to be challenging, but I'm trying. I'll move to my right hand. Probably be better off. All right, let's go check it. Oh, I just got caught by my work trailer. So we're now at a 2.1. Well, we didn't change it at all, but we did change the frequency that the SWR is at 2 to 1 at, and that is now at 3.796 megahertz. So I'll cut that in the middle and try and be right at 308 or 3800. And that way I'm in the middle. Obviously, once I get up here, it's my SWR is 4 to 1. That's non-usable band. That's non-usable. But realistically, if I need it, I can operate at a 2 to 1, which is, that's giving me a 3808. And that's 2 to 2.3, and that's 3784. So, I mean, I've got about a 20K swing that I can be at and be okay before I start getting weirded out. So I'm going to try and raise it just a hair, or lower it just a hair, and cut that in the middle between where I am and where it was. And hopefully, I'm stepping on my camera case for my iPhone that I peeled off to get the crack off of there. But hopefully, when I do that, it'll bring it, and my center point will be 3800 at least. All right. So the first time we messed with it, well, that was spot on exactly. Somehow that worked out. Frequency is 3.8 even, and I am at a 2 to 1 SWR, dead nuts. And again, that's 2 to 1. It's not the best in the world, but for 80 meters on a hamstick, I'm going to call that acceptable. You can see there it's 2.3. and the frequency is 2.816. Then if I come back here, my SWR is 2.4, and the frequency is 3.784. So that's giving me 32K worth of swing, with my center point being 3.8, and that's acceptable to me. I'm not on 80 meters a lot, but now I do have an 80 meter option, and it looks like a very tall antenna. So now we'll hop in the truck and we'll give it a test. So to do that, I got to disconnect my Nano VNA, connect it back to my antenna, crank my truck up, and then turn on the radio. So I'll get back with you once I'm in the truck. All right, so let's power on the radio. Now we are still way off, because remember, our center point is 3.800. So we're spinning this dial a lot. And you guys don't forget that 3.8 is the middle of the band if you're an extra, but it's the edge of the band if you're a general. I say that as a word of caution. I'm not your dad. I'm not the FCC, so you do you, but I don't want you to get in trouble. Just operate in your band plan. So now let's give the mic a good old key up and a test. We'll give a listen to make sure nobody's on frequency. I don't hear anybody. Kilo 3 Echo Echo. Test, test, testing, testing. Kilo 3 Echo Echo. Test, test, test. So the SWR meter was flashing below the number 2, which means it's actually a little less than 2 to 1. So now we were at 2.3 at at 3786. So we'll go to 85 and see how it goes. Let's give a listen, make sure nobody's on the frequency. Kilo 3 Echo Echo. Testing, testing, testing. K3 EE. Test, test, test. So you can see that that was a little above 2 to 1. And again, the radio's not cutting power yet. We're still operating just fine. So now we'll try and move up to 15. Nobody's on the frequency, hadn't heard anybody. Kilo 3, Echo, Echo, testing, 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 testing an antenna. K3EE, testing a hamstick. And we were at 2 to 1. So that gives me 3785 to 3815 that I can operate in. And guys, I'll be honest, that gives me 15K. And that will let me work around people. I can go, that gives me 30K of space I can operate in below 2.5 to 1. And that's 15K above the extra and 15K below the extra. Don't forget that when you're in lower sideband, if you move to 3800, your frequency on lower sideband is actually going to transmit 3K up to 3K below that. So you'll actually be transmitting, if your radio dial is set to 3.800, your band wave, your radio wave signal is on 3.797 all the way up to 3.8. So don't forget that, because that's a way that people get in trouble with their band plan. All right, I'm gonna take this hamstick off, get my ATOS put back on, get it disassembled and put in the truck, get that adapter coupling put back in my toolbox where I keep it, and then I'll get back with you once I'm back in my office in front of a fan. All right, guys, I'm in the shack. Again, I appreciate all of y'all. I hope this helps if any of y'all are gonna tune a hamstick. It is a bit of a process, but hamsticks are really good. And I realize that a 2 to 1 SWR is not ideal. It's not perfect, but it does operate on a modern radio, and it does not affect the signal output or the RF output. So that radio is still running at 100 watts. The 891 at 3 to 1 starts cutting power before you damage it. That's internal. And that's why my cutoff is typically around 2 to 1, maybe a little bit higher than 2 to 1. I give my own safety margin on top of Yaesu's safety margin. But I hope this helps if any of y'all are struggling to figure it out. Sorry I don't have a video up yet of the Nano VNA setup. I will work on doing one of those, maybe today, since it's going to be hot here in North Carolina today. And that's all, man. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Again, I'm Justin, K3EE. This is Blackbeard's Radio. Please like and subscribe. I would love it a bunch. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're on a good trend to do it, but it would be awesome if I could do it. So thanks. I hope y'all have a great day. Again, I'm Justin, K3EE, Blackbeard's Radio, 73.